Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video, and today we are finally back after nearly a month. We're back on F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, and today we have the Belgian Grand Prix. Last time out in Hungary we had a bit of rotten luck after proving ourselves in qualifying, but today we have another opportunity to try and find some pace. So let's jump straight into qualifying and see how we can redeem ourselves. Here we are at the end of our first run in Q1. There are a few yellow flags due to cars running out of fuel, but we'll happily ignore them. Round the final corner on the exit, DRS enabled, and we've only gone P10, 1.7 seconds behind Pierre Gasly. So that is absolutely horrific. We need to try and improve. I know I can improve on that lap. And I now look at the standings, and thankfully we're not even P22, we're P17. So the chances of getting into Q2 are quite high here if we can find some improvement. Now through the final chicane, we're improving by 0.3 of a second here. Through the final corner, nail the exit, DRS enabled, towards the line, and we have gone just about P16 into Q2 once again, and that is exactly what we needed. We always want to be aiming to get into Q2 here in this first season of this My Team Career Mode. Meanwhile, Robert was only able to manage P20 in the end, which is very disappointing. He hasn't managed to get into Q2 yet, but now here we are into Q2, and Hamilton on the racing line. I've had to go around him at Eau Rouge, and that will make me lose quite a little bit of time. So now through the final chicane, and that is not going to be the quickest lap we can do. We did get a tow, however, but I don't think it will be enough. No, not at all. We are still over half a second behind Ocon there. And now into the end of Q2, through the final chicane, we found massive improvements after not being held up at Eau Rouge. Here we go, towards the line. What can we manage here? And that looks like P15 on the grid, which we'll definitely take. We're able to beat Kimi Raikkonen. So let's see the full grid for the Belgium Grand Prix.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez, and Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Tsunoda, and Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Vettel, Lance Stroll, and Ocon. The owner driver, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman, Latifi, and Nikita Mazepin. And now it's time to head down to the track.
We were not lucky with grid penalties this time around, so we'll stay P15, but with a good start, we could maybe find ourselves around P12 as we are now ending the formation lap. Hopefully, we can get a good start, as we are now going to soon be revving up to 5 red lights here for the Belgium Grand Prix. Five red lights and they're out, and we are underway here for the Belgium Grand Prix, and I think I've had quite a decent start there. Going into turn 1, we're being overtaken by Raikkonen, and Fernando Alonso's crashed into the back of someone, and he is out of the Grand Prix already. We've had to avoid the strucken Alpine, and we actually get out of turn 1 in P11 behind Sebastian Vettel. The virtual safety car has turned into a full safety car. What the hell was that from Fernando Alonso? But for us, a brilliant start from P15 all the way up into P11, and now we have a safety car to try and regroup here and maybe try and figure out a plan to keep up with the Aston Martin in front. Meanwhile, someone who's been deeply affected, Daniel Ricciardo and Nikita Mazepin, the GOAT, have both had to pit in, but this is a bad start for Daniel Ricciardo, considering he is in the title fight and he has to be fighting with the likes of Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen. This is exactly what Ricciardo didn't need, and he will have to try and find a way through the field. But thankfully for him, there is a safety car that he can catch up to. But now we skip over to lap 3 at the end of the safety car, and we are just kind of getting ready, making sure our tyres are up to temperature and making sure that we don't fall too far behind.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there is no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
So now we have a job to do here. The safety car will end at the end of the lap, and we are now getting ready to restart here in Belgium. We have one car out of the Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso, after crashing into turn 1. And now we're starting to pick up speed. We nearly go into the back of Vettel there. We're trying to be careful and aggressive at the same time, going now into the chicane. I am now hoping for the best run possible here out of the chicane. Hopefully we can get it right as we are underway again here in Belgium. Through the final corner, we do get some decent traction, but Vettel is starting to pull away from us on the straight as we start lap 4. But we're going to go down his inside into turn 1, and hopefully we have made the move stick, and we are now back into the top 10. Amazing move from me, but I don't think we're quite finished. Vettel looks to come back at us here. Going into Eau Rouge, we are wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin, and I think we made a bit of contact near the top of the hill, but thankfully we make it out in one piece. But he is still coming back at us here on the right hand side, and Gio will also get involved, and we are 3 wide on the Kemmel straight. I'm going to have to be careful here. Giovinazzi down the inside, and he spun Vettel around. Vettel's been spun around 180 degrees, and Ocon will try and reverse, and he hits Stroll. Unbelievable stuff for Aston Martin. One has been spun around, and one hasn't even got a front wing on their car.
The marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are no plans for a safety car right now.
Well, that just makes things even more terrible for Aston Martin. Stroll will have to go nearly a full lap and get into the pit lane without any sort of safety car to help him out. We skip over to lap 6 now, and Pierre Gasly has gone into the pit lane. Lando Norris has gone into the pit lane. A lap later, Pierre Gasly and Charles Leclerc have entered the pit lane. We start lap 7, and I'm kind of feeling very calm here. I'm in the top 10, but look, right behind me, Gio is getting attacked here by Daniel Ricciardo, who has the drag reduction enabled. He'll go to the outside line at Lecom, all the way around the outside. Gio will try and fight back here. Lovely bit of fighting here, but the McLaren has way too much aero for the Alfa Romeo, and Giovinazzi will have to give up that P8. So now I am in absolute danger. Carlito has entered the pit lane just in front of us, and so has Yuki Tsunoda. But now that is the least of my concern, because I've got Daniel Ricciardo right behind me, and I decide not to fight him. He's in a much quicker car, and he's much quicker than me right now, so I cannot afford to fight him, but I would definitely appreciate having the drag reduction from him. So we're up into P5 after some pit stops, but we're not really looking to get any higher, and we're actually looking to pit in at the end of this lap, so that can't be too bad. Meanwhile, right behind us, there seem to be some yellow flags at the back. I'm not sure what exactly has happened, but we're going to continue. No! Carlito's crashed on the straight. How has he managed that? Carlos Sainz is out of the Belgium Grand Prix. Let's see what he did. Oh no! He simply binned the car with the DRS, and that is a big error, and it's caused a safety car. Unbelievable stuff. That will help us hugely to try and get ahead of Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, but who would have thought? What a strange AI mistake. But this will not only help me, but the other people who haven't pitted in, like Giovinazzi and Daniel Ricciardo. What a recovery drive from Ricciardo. Let's see whether we'll come out of the pit lane. We're into the pit lane here at the end of the lap. The AI have opted for the hard tyres, which I find absolutely ridiculous. I'd rather go for a set of mediums and try and feel the pace, as our car is kind of lacking. So into the pit lane here, onto the medium tyres, and this should be a good pit stop. Look at that. Works of magic there from the team. Can we get ahead of Ricciardo? No, we actually glitched with him. A bit of an unsafe release, but the FIA will bat an eye like Michael Massey, so we have to ignore it. But unfortunately, we are not ahead of the AlphaTauris, which is a bit of a shock. What kind of safety car did we have there? What kind of delta did they have? But we're not too bothered. We're still in the top 10.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety car in this lap.
So the second safety car of the Grand Prix is about to end, and thankfully we are actually on the medium tyres. We're in the top 10, and it's our race to lose here. If we can get to the end, we can get points. And look, Yuki Tsunoda has a 5-second time penalty, which will make our job a lot more simple here, as we're now going to pick up speed going into the final chicane, and all we have to do is focus on the exit, try not to mess it up, and we should be fine. We are once again underway here in Belgium, and that is not the greatest exit in the world, but I'm not too bothered about trying to attack Ricardo. I'm just looking to maintain position and take advantage of any fights that happen up in the field. But now we move on to the end of the lap, and Lando Norris is all over the back of the Alfa Romeo. Giovinazzi is in big trouble here going into Block Shimon. Lando will fly ahead of the Alfa Romeo, and now that puts me in a bit of danger, as now we're getting closer to going down into P10, but thankfully I won't have to worry for much longer, as just in front of me, Daniel Ricciardo will now have a look at Yuki Tsunoda down the inside going into Lecom. They don't make contact, wheel to wheel. Ricciardo will try and hold it round the outside, and Tsunoda will try and fight with everything he has, but unfortunately he cannot do too much. Actually, he'll try and go around the outside, but Ricciardo will have the inside line and inevitably overtake the AlphaTauri. And quite frankly, Yuki should probably focus on trying not to fight and try and pull away from the cars behind like me and Giovinazzi. But here we are on the straight. It's now my turn to try and overtake the AlphaTauri. I do feel quick right now, and we just should have enough overtake available to make Yuki squirm a little bit to the right hand side and around the outside there through the com, and we're ahead up into P8, which is absolutely epic. Imagine if we actually finish in P8. I would be very delighted. But at the end of lap 13, I'm not able to pull away. Yuki will just not leave me alone, and he will send it down my inside into turn 1. I have to give him the room on the inside line, and Yuki, what a move from him. He moves up back into P8, and Lando Norris will be feeling a little bit impatient as I tap the wall. What on earth was I doing there? I have no idea. But now up the hill, we're looking to try and overtake Tsunoda, but Lando is right behind me here. He'll have a look on my left hand side. Yuki will go defensive here, so that helps out Lando. He'll streamline through the both of us, and now me and Yuki will go wheel to wheel. I managed to get back ahead of him at Lecom, and I'm still running in P8. What a joke after all that effort. But again, we move over to lap 15. I cannot pull away from Tsunoda, and he will easily fly past me on the straight with that Honda engine and the drag reduction. But despite all the fighting, Giovinazzi is still falling back from us here, so that will play very well into Yuki's hands if he wants to get into the top 10 here today. And I've now figured out a plan where I don't really need to attack Yuki. I'm going to be finishing in P9 whether I overtake him or not, and with that 5-second penalty, all I have to do is really chill behind him and let him take me to the top 10. Meanwhile, behind us, a fight here for not even the top 10, and oh, collision there between Schwartzman and Latifi. Latifi's been spun around, and Schwartzman has lost a bit of front wing. And what the hell happened there? That was so random from the two of them. Schwartzman locked up into the side of Latifi, and Latifi did not have a clue, and no way. We have another safety car here on lap 19. Why on earth would we have a safety car? You have to tell me. But this has utterly killed Yuki Tsunoda, and now puts a bit of pressure on me not to make a mistake. I have to now try and keep it clean, knowing that Kimi Räikkönen will be right behind me. But unbelievable, I did not think we'd have a safety car, and it will end. It will end here in lap 20, so we've had a safety car for 1 lap and we'll get 2 racing laps. I'm very confused. I don't think that needed a safety car. So Michael, what are you doing? But anyway, we now have to try and refocus here and try and just bring the car home in P10, and we will get that lovely P9 that we want here today. Now round the final corner for the 4th start of the Grand Prix, we are underway once again here in Belgium, and it's going to be a race to the flag. Lap 21 has begun, and I'm just looking to keep it clean and not make any major mistake that will cost me the points. I'm all over the back of Yuki Tsunoda. Meanwhile, Valtteri's done the fastest lap. How has he done that then? I'm really questioning where he found the pace. But, well, then again, I've just gone and done a personal best. So maybe the pace is actually there here in Belgium. But the final lap has begun, and Yuki Tsunoda will be fuming as he is about to lose what is a well-earned top 10 finish. Meanwhile, we cut to our race winner. Valtteri Bottas will win again here in 2021, and he's back in this championship. What a win for him and for Mercedes. Meanwhile, for me, I will cross the line in P10, but with the penalty from Tsunoda, we are P9. Come on.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they persevered to take the win here today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Well, that has to be one of the most random Grand Prix I've ever done in this game, but thank you all for watching. That will end today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
Let's move on to the constructors. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.